I always feel guilty for taking time to myself for rest. How can I unlearn that mindset? This is a really great question. I think a lot of us feel guilty when we're taking time for rest, and I think that most of that is because in the capitalist hellscape that we exist in, anything that you spend your time and energy on that is not getting you money is considered wasteful. And so a lot of us don't want to take vacations. We don't want to just hang out at home. We want to turn every hobby into a hustle that we can make money from, because capitalism tells us that the only worthwhile use of our time and labor is getting money. And that is so extractive, not just as like a larger system, but also to our like spirits and our hearts. Humans are primates, right? Like we're a very advanced version of primates in some ways. And if you look at how primates live, they actually spend a ton of their time in leisure. They hang out with each other. They pick bugs off of each other. They do things that are about building community and connection, and not things that are about like getting stuff, acquiring stuff, those sorts of things. They try to spend as little time on that as possible. And so the way that we are meant to live in terms of our bodies and our brains is with a lot of leisure time, a lot of downtime, a lot of time with friends and those who we love, our loved ones. But capitalism, again, tells us that that time is wasted time because it's not monetized, right? Like we're not getting money for hanging out with family. So obviously it's useless to spend our time and energy on that. For me, one of the things that really helped me practice resting more was acknowledging that the voice inside of me that tells me that I should feel guilty for resting is the voice of extractive capitalism. When I understood that voice to be the force of extractive capitalism working upon me, it made it much easier for me to like hear that voice and decide not to do what it says. Because the thing about the like pieces of us that speak up or that tell us what to do is that they're giving us a piece of information, but that isn't necessarily information that we have to accept or take on or implement. Just because a piece of my brain tells me that I should not rest, that I should feel guilty for resting, that doesn't actually mean that piece of my brain is correct. It just means that it has a story that has gotten some power over some period of time. So once I know that that story is one from extractive capitalism, that the power it has is one that is really deeply rooted in oppression and colonialism and all of these systems that I don't support, it becomes much, much easier to convince myself to take a break and not feel guilty about it, because I don't believe that extractive capitalism is the way. I don't believe that other people should never rest. And so if I would not apply that standard to other people, why am I applying it to me? The other thing that helped me unlearn it, frankly, was becoming disabled. I have several chronic ailments, and the reality that you learn very quickly when you're disabled is that if you try to do everything all the time and you never rest, you end up being forced to rest. If you don't take that rest proactively, your body will force you to. It'll make you sick. It'll make you too tired. It'll give you all new conditions. Your body and your brain will force you to rest, and you do not want to get to that point. Because if you get to the point where your body and your brain have to like pull the emergency brake on you, it's going to be painful for you. It's going to take longer to recover. It's going to be worse for you in the long run. So figuring out for you, when in the past have you hit that wall and all of a sudden had to rest, and how can you decide to rest a few steps before that wall, right? Paying attention to, I'm telling myself I shouldn't take a break. Is there anything actually on fire? Like if I don't do anything for the rest of today, realistically, what's going to happen? If I decide to take this weekend fully off of everything, is anything going to fall apart? Like really, really checking yourself on that. And paying attention to when your body is telling you you probably need a rest soon, or when your brain is telling you you probably need a rest soon. If you're noticing that you're tired all the time, you probably need more rest. If you're feeling a lot of brain fog, it's hard to concentrate, hard to focus, you're losing track of things, your memory isn't working so well, probably time for rest. If you are getting angry very easily, super irritable, probably time for rest. If you are gaining a lot of weight, losing a lot of weight, eating way more than usual, eating way less than usual, probably time for a rest. If you feel a lot of like lack of desire to do things, we call that technically anhedonia, lack of pleasure in things. But a lot of times when we get to that point where we're like burned out, or we're, way past the point where we need to take a break, nothing sounds like it's going to be fun. We don't want to go see people. We don't want to cook our own food. We just want to like sit on the couch or in the bed and do nothing and scroll our phone forever. And so if you're noticing that that's where you're at, that that's what you're wanting, probably what you need is rest. And no, sitting on your couch and scrolling your phone is not actually rest, because it keeps your brain very active. And a lot of times the stuff that we're scrolling contains a lot of stuff that's not pleasant, right? Like, it's important to stay up to date on what's going on in the world. But if you're spending 6 hours a day scrolling Twitter and seeing a lot of stuff about the genocide in Palestine, that's not going to be restful for you. So you need to figure out, what am I doing that I'm thinking of as rest, but that is not actually restful, that is not recuperative for me, is not like helping me feed back up. And if so, you need to see like which are the things I'm doing that actually rest for me, which are the things that just like are like brain fuzz for a while so I can numb myself out from whatever's going on. And like, numbing has a place. Every coping strategy, even unhealthy ones, they have a place. No one can use healthy coping strategies 100% of the time. Just check in with yourself about, would it be better for me to actually rest right now? Oh, so we have a comment. Last night I asked myself, what task can I do that I don't have a risk of messing up? That was my reminder to rest. Yeah, if you're trying to figure out like, what can I do that'll be at the level I'm functioning? Unless it has to happen today, just don't. That's not, I guarantee that there are so many things that feel urgent to you that are not nearly as urgent as you think they are. I've run into this in like working with others about a lot of things where they will like want me to get back to them within an hour about a thing that doesn't affect anything for another 2 weeks. And I'm like, you don't actually need a response in an hour. You're just used to getting quick responses because of the age of cell phones. And I think that another piece of learning to rest is unlearning that urgency drive, that like everything is urgent and has to be done right now. You don't have to text someone back right now. Like, don't be fully like me and like forget to text people back for like weeks on end. That's less than great. But like, you don't need to text them back right this minute. You don't need to answer every email right away. Like, things can wait. The urgency that we feel these days is so new, and it is so toxic to all of us. I'm old enough that I remember when nobody had cell phones, before even pagers, right? And if you called someone's house and they weren't there, you had to wait and either call later or wait until you saw them in person. Because there was no way to just keep trying to get in touch with them. Like, that was it. You called their house. If they were gone, they were gone. You had to wait. You could leave a message with someone there if someone picked up. You could leave a message on their machine if they had a machine. But like, there was no guarantee you would have access to someone. And I think that while it is amazing and so cool that we have instant access to the entirety of the internet and the whole world, there are times that I wish we didn't, because we then expect instant access to every person. And I think that instant access to information and instant access to people are very different things that we have not pieced apart yet. So again, remind yourself, urgency is usually a lie. There are very few things that are as urgent as people think they are, and just check that within yourself. So remember, it's about capitalism, and fuck capitalism. Remember that if you don't choose to rest, your body and your brain will choose for you, and that's going to be way worse. So you might as well figure it out instead. And remember that feeling urgent is not the same thing as being urgent. Like, realistically sit down and say, okay, if I got in a car crash and none of this stuff happened for 2 weeks, what would actually be on fire? Like, what would seriously be a problem? That's what's actually urgent. The stuff that you could wait 2 weeks and it would still be there and it's not seriously a problem, it would just be annoying to other people or annoying to you, that's not really urgent. So you can let that go. I think a lot of us need to practice. I think part of this rest stuff also is about practicing and learning how to like set our boundaries and be okay with letting people down if what they're expecting is something that we cannot reasonably provide. Like, if someone wants that response within an hour to every text message, I'm going to say that's not available from me. That's never going to be available from me. And if you're disappointed, I hear you. I'm not going to change that, though. I have no desire to change it. I don't feel a need to change it. I understand that you feel let down. And, like, that's yours. That's not mine. I think that we need to get better at telling people no and letting them have their disappointment or their upset and not making that our own. Because we need that rest. We need those boundaries. And if people are going to get upset with us over those things, those aren't the people for us.